In the quietest wing of the hospital, where footsteps sounded more like whispers, a nurse named Evelyn Hart moved through the sterile silence. She had tended to hundreds of souls, watching them come and go, but the ones who truly stayed with her were those who never got to say a final goodbye. The world outside had changed. A great distance had grown between the sick and their loved ones, a chasm that letters and phone calls couldn't always bridge. It was in these long, isolating months that Evelyn started a private, solemn ritual. She began recording messages for patients who felt their time slipping away, their final words captured in a small digital recorder. Each recording was a universe of its own. Some were shaky confessions, words that had been locked away for years. Others were heartfelt apologies, pleas for forgiveness whispered into the stillness of the night. Many were simple, profound statements. Thank you for everything. I love you. I tried my best. Evelyn became the keeper of these last goodbyes, each file meticulously labeled with a name and a date, a collection of unspoken love waiting for the day it could finally be delivered. She saw herself as a messenger, a bridge over the silence. One evening, as the city lights began to blur through the hospital windows, a new patient was wheeled in. He was an older man, his face pale and etched with the lines of a long, hard life. His eyes, though tired and clouded, held a flicker of something Evelyn couldn't quite place, something hauntingly familiar. His breathing was shallow, his strength fading with every passing hour. Following her routine, Evelyn approached his bedside. Her voice was gentle, a soft counterpoint to the rhythmic beeping of the monitors. "Sir," she began, "is there anyone you'd like to leave a message for? Anyone you want to talk to?" The man looked at her, his gaze distant, as if seeing through her into a memory. He gave a slow, deliberate nod. Evelyn held out the small recorder, pressed the button, and the tiny red light blinked to life, ready to capture what remained. His voice, when it came, was a fragile rasp, a sound pulled from deep within. "To my daughter," he said, the words barely audible. "I know I wasn't there, not when you needed me the most. I know I walked away." He paused, gathering a breath that seemed to cost him everything. "But not a single day went by, not one, that I didn't wish I had stayed." Evelyn's world stopped. The sterile scent of the hospital, the distant hum of machinery, the very air she breathed. It all vanished. A tremor ran through her hands, making the recorder feel impossibly heavy. Her breath caught in her throat, a knot of disbelief and a lifetime of unspoken questions. She knew that voice. She knew its cadence, its sorrow, its hollow echo of regret. It was the voice that had haunted her dreams since she was 8 years old. It was her father, the man who had walked out of her life without a word, leaving a void that had shaped her entire existence, the man she never ever expected to see again. And here he was, a stranger in a hospital bed, confessing his deepest regrets to the daughter he couldn't even recognize. He continued, lost in his final testament, oblivious to the storm raging inside the nurse standing beside him. "If I could go back," he whispered, his eyes closing, "I would choose differently. I would choose you." The words struck Evelyn with the force of a physical blow. She wanted to scream. She wanted to cry out, "I'm here! It's me!" She wanted to tell him about the birthdays he missed, the scraped knees he never kissed, the graduation he never attended. She wanted to tell him that she had become a nurse, someone who stayed, someone who fixed what was broken. She wanted to say the words she had rehearsed in her mind for decades, words of anger, of confusion, of a desperate, lingering love. But she couldn't. Her professionalism, the quiet vow she made to every patient, held her in place. She was Nurse Hart, the keeper of last words, not Evelyn, the abandoned daughter, and so she stood in silence, a statue of duty, as her own father unknowingly gave her the closure she had craved her entire life. Just before the first light of dawn painted the sky in shades of grey and rose, he slipped away. It was a quiet passing, as gentle and final as a candle flame, dissolving into smoke. The room fell into an even deeper silence, punctuated only by the flat line of the heart monitor. For a long time, Evelyn just sat there in the empty room, clutching the small recorder to her chest, feeling the warmth of its plastic against her uniform. The final words of her father were trapped inside, a ghost in the machine. Later that morning, she went to her locker and took out a clean, crisp envelope. She placed the recorder inside and sealed it shut. On the front, she wrote a single name: Evelyn Hart. She didn't listen to it. She knew she never would. She didn't need to. The message wasn't in the sound waves, it was in the moment it was given. Some goodbyes aren't meant to be heard again and again. They are meant to be felt just once with the full weight of a lifetime. As she walked back down that long, quiet hallway, the echoes of her footsteps no longer sounded like whispers. They sounded like tears, finally falling. Sometimes, even in the most profound silence, love finds its own way to say goodbye. And sometimes that is more than enough. Thank you for watching. If this story touched you, please consider subscribing for more tales of the human spirit.